Hello guys, welcome to a special episode of Turtle Talk. This is the 100th episode going up on my channel, so I thought I'd have a little bit of background music, talk a little bit about music. We'll get right into it. There's some things I've always kind of wondered, like Beethoven, Bach, classical music. We remember that, we have that now, 200-300 years later. I wonder, like, what's going to be remembered in 200-300 more years. Like, is Justin Bieber going to be the thing that people remember? Is Madonna going to be the thing people remember? And then I wonder, like, what about all the other bands that just don't quite have that fame? I mean, this is All India Radio, a little down-tempo band that may or may not be remembered. I think they have some really, really great music, just, good chill drums and stuff. I wonder about some of the electronica bands and stuff that I've listened to in the past few years that like are more like glitch hop or down tempo or off not popular genres. Like I wonder what's going to happen with those, or how many of those songs will be remembered. We're living in a weird age where music is much more personal. Like firstly, like if you think back to, I'm 28, but if I think back to when my parents had music and stuff, that's what I was listening to when I was a kid. If they like classic rock, I like classic rock. If they like this song, I listened to that song. I didn't really have a choice, and I didn't have my own iPod and my own headphones, and I didn't just go listen to what I wanted. I listened to whatever my parents had on in the car. I listened to what they had on in the house. When my dad came home from work, he turned on some music on his stereo that he wanted to listen to, and he relaxed and he chilled, and I was kind of just there for that. So I think back to some of the bands that I listen to, and I have the select songs that I liked better than others, and some of them are just more nostalgic, and some of them just make me remember a lot of, like, good or bad times. I mean, music's one of those things that really does put you in the mindset of, like, I remember where I first heard this, or I remember when I listened to this, or I was doing this one time and this was on. And so I wonder about the generational gap that we're getting into, because kids nowadays, they have their own iPod, they have their own music, they're listening to their own stuff. They're not getting exposed to what their parents listen to as much, or even if they are, it's a lot less than I think it was back in the day when the family had one radio, one stereo, one thing at a time, and now everyone has their own. And we live in a time where you're able to get music either through like iTunes, or you can listen to it on Pandora or Spotify, but you can very much pick out your own music, your own taste, your own stuff that you like, and maybe never get exposed to other stuff because you're not actually listening to it on the radio. You're not listening to it. You're listening like what you like or what your friends say is popular. I think that's going to be a weird thing in a few years. I think we'll see a difference in like what kind of music kids like and what gets remembered, really. I mean, you can ask kids who like Alanis Morissette is, and they're like, who's that? Because it's a 90s thing, You can ask them about 90s music that, like, to me was like, that was it, man. That was the cool stuff. That was what was on the radio. That's what my friends were listening to. That's what I was listening to. And then you ask these kids now that were born like post-2000, they're like, I'm talking kids under 14 years of age right now, and those kids, they may have no idea who anyone even from the 90s was. That's kind of weird to me, because when I was younger, I remember listening to Pink Floyd, the Beatles, Elvis was still a big thing with my parents, and these kids don't even know, some of the other bands that I would have thought were like gonna last for a long time. There's some bands that I really thought like would just be like a staple of music. Some of them have faded away. Some have turned into one-hit wonders since the 90s. There was a lot of one-hit wonders in the 90s. I wonder like how much of that's going to be remembered in 200-300 years. I wonder like if they're going to assume that we were all weird and listened to what Kanye West, Akon, anything with autotune. I wonder if that's going to be the stuff that's remembered. We live in a time where media and stuff is definitely being recorded and kept better. Like, we have backups of everything. The internet and YouTube has backups of music and music videos that I don't know when that will fade. I think that will make stuff carry on to the future better than recording. Like, has anyone listened to an actual recording of Mozart? I don't know. I don't know if I've ever listened to an actual Beethoven symphony recorded to whatever medium they had back then. I don't know, but we live in a time where we can. I mean, we could easily have. I don't know that CDs will last that long. Cassette tapes are kind of out of it, but MP3s, man, they could be something that carries on through the internet for a long time. And other than file formats changing and being, better, and kids being like, MP3s 5 megabytes for a whole song, gosh, that's huge. Other than like the jokingly different versions of stuff, I wonder, like, what will carry on. How many of these bands that I listen to are not even going to be remembered? How many bands were there back in Beethoven's time that, how many musicians were making music and should have got popular, should have got fame, had really good talent, but they didn't have the medium to record it, and it just didn't get carried on and saved for the future, or, lost in the archives kind of thing. So, I want to, bring that up with you guys on this. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a fun thing to talk about. I've talked about it with a couple friends, and there's so much music out there now. I mean, there's bands that may never even record anything, but they play at bars or coffee shops or other places. I wonder how much of that, because some of that, I mean, I appreciate a lot of music. I appreciate a lot of stuff. I really prefer, like, when I'm listening to music, I prefer to have like instrumental stuff, background noise, like this stuff here that I'm playing in this video, which it's just, I don't know, it's chill, it's relaxing, it's a good mindset, puts you in a good mindset. You keep your temper down and stuff with it. I like it. But then there's other times I like other music that's a bit more upbeat. If I'm gonna go work out, go for a run, do something, I want something that's a little bit more busy. I spend a lot of time in coffee shops. I've been at Starbucks and stuff today, and like, this is the kind of music, like, I would love to hear some of this in there. I wonder how much of that will carry on to the future, and how much it won't. How much are we gonna miss out on, especially because kids are in the MP3 world and they can have their own choice now. They don't have to listen to their parents and their parents' parents. You're not listening to someone else's music. You're listening to yours, your iPod, your, whatever, Zune, whatever other MP3 players there are. Mostly iPods is what I see. Even most of the kids that I've worked with, like, and taught, like, you see them with an iPod. You see them with iPod Touch, iPod Shuffle, some sort of MP3 player, and they have their own headphones. They got the earbuds in. They don't even know people are talking to them most of the time. It's a weird disconnect, and I don't know if that was expected even 50 years ago. I don't think anyone could have predicted some of that happening. I don't think, even when they made the first Walkman, the first Discman stuff, I don't know that they knew that it was going to get to this level where, like, now everyone just buys just the song they like. They don't even have to buy the whole CD. They just 99 cents, bam, that song, that's the one I want. They have it on iTunes, and that's not even bringing up piracy or other stuff, Pandora, Spotify, and other things where music is just free. But, like, there's ways for kids to get the music that they want, and they can do it, and they don't have to listen to anyone else's music. They only have to listen to what's popular. They may not. I mean, I know people that don't want to listen to stuff that, like, they don't already know the lyrics to, and that blows my mind. That's crazy to me. I want to hear, like, a lot of music. Sometimes I go on like YouTube or something, and I'm like just finding like underground music stuff that's like not popular yet, maybe not even known, maybe like 100 views on a video or less. I want something that's like unique, and like I like to connect with the person. I've made music in the past with Fruity Loops and stuff, and so I like to listen to how other people interpret sounds and like what they want to do with it. And I'm like, sometimes I just have that like it's not creative mode, but it's like I want to listen to like just something new, something unheard of, something different, and hear like an interpretation of something. And so sometimes I go in that mindset. I don't know what to call it really, but it's just like I just want to have something experience And sometimes I go and I'm trying to find older um, classic rock songs that I don't know, or sometimes I have heard them, but I just don't. I've never known who the band is that did it, or I never knew. It's like you can put stuff on Pandora, like a random song, and then have it like shuffle up some pretty crazy different stuff that you would never find on your own. You like never even think to search for or find, and I think that's great. I think maybe part of me is because I was a DJ for a few years and playing music for people. Like I wanted them to like experience something new. And I think that's part of where I wasn't as popular as a DJ, because I wasn't just playing the same old songs. I wasn't doing any electric slides or cha-cha slide, or I wasn't, I was trying to go out of the box. I was trying to play like Infected Mushroom. I was playing like Daft Punk and stuff, but trying to play like electronica stuff that was just really good, Boards of Canada and stuff. And I guess some of that's not so much good for dancing, but I like to find the music. That's part of the thing for me, and so I enjoy listening to like dance remixes and dubstep remixes of classic songs. Um, what's that? Is it Steve Miller Band, Abracadabra? Like there's a like dance song of that I have on a Spotify playlist. It's just like, this is really great. I have some like ABBA remixed into like new disco style stuff, which it's like funny and it sounds good and I like it. It's just it's like it's a different experience to a song you already kind of know. But still, I like a lot of instrumental stuff too. I like just sometimes I like music just for the instrumental sections of it, and then the words I'm just like whatever, I'm over it. But yeah, I wonder how much of that will transfer. How much of that will carry on for decades, centuries to come. I'd love to know in the future. I would so love to know like how much of that carries on, and how much like there's so much music. I mean, it's so easy for people to make a band or make music nowadays. I mean, if I could make music on Fruity Loops 10 years ago, I was making music 10 years ago, and some of it was really bad sampling and cutting and chopping stuff up and just throwing it together and trying to, very bad. Because I did not have any rhythm. So, you could imagine the stuff that I wanted to make 10 years ago, in my mind, was like dubstep or trap music. And that was before that stuff was even like popular here. And I remember when people started listening to dubstep, and I was like, this is kind of cool. And then I started like it was bigger, not in America, more in Europe areas. I don't know where it really got big first, but so I was watching YouTube videos and stuff that had dubstep, and I was subscribed to a bunch of dubstep, UKF dubstep channels and stuff. And man, I remember listening to some of that music and being like, wow, this is amazing. This is like what I wanted to make for years. This is what I wanted, and like I could never figure like the knob turning parts of it. I could never figure out the wub wubs. I didn't know how to do it. Now I could probably look up a tutorial on YouTube and figure out how to do it, and I could record it, and I could get it up on YouTube, and someone else would listen to it. I mean, endless possibilities right now for musicians. It's definitely a greater time than probably ever before. Where sending in mixtape back in 60s, 70s, 80s was work just to get it sent in to someone that would listen to it, that might publish it, might not. You may never get anyone to hear it. I remember the movie Airheads, and they're like trying to get their demo tape in. They like hijack that the radio station so they can play their stuff on the radio. That's an extreme movie that's made enough funny, like Brendan Fraser, Adam Sandler, and Steve Buscemi. Like, it's a funny thing, but it's like that was probably like how some bands thought that was like their only way. That was like their only thing they could do. They didn't have anything else. There was like desperation. And now you might make a song and get lucky. You might be like Lindsey Sterling and play a violin and get it on YouTube and stuff and get tons of views and make lots of money. I mean, you don't know how it's going to take off. That's somewhere between American dream and exciting, and like just some people are just really lucky and some people just aren't. So there's again, I'm going to bring up the Justin Biebers of the world that, like, I feel like he just got lucky. There's other people that worked for a lot of years in different mediums and movies and TV shows and stuff, child actors and stuff, before they ever get to where they can actually express themselves as the way they want in music or in um, other stuff. You know, they don't get typecast into like one type of role in acting and stuff. So I think we're in a definitely weird time. You know, I mean, I can't think of any examples of people that like were like a child actor or something now and do YouTube as like career or do like videos and voice acting and stuff. But there's got to be some. I just can't think of them. Trying to think like there's people that like they made their money doing stuff earlier on, and then now they are a celebrity, and they maybe make a vlog or something, or they maybe some of them are just on Twitter and blogs and stuff. So and people read their stuff every day because they feel like they can relate to that person. So it's definitely, I mean, that stuff that just didn't happen 100 years ago. I want to say it didn't happen 100 years ago. I can't think of an example of a person that was like Benjamin Franklin had the editorial things that he would send in under the different name, and he'd send in those stories. I would consider that like a hobby, like YouTube. I would have considered that like a thing that he did, like to express himself or tell stories and do stuff. I'm not sure exactly like what his motivation were and stuff, and I can't ask him, so may never know. But I feel like that was kind of a trying to branch out, trying to break a medium, get into a new kind of thing, and I don't want to say it like furthered his profession, career, or whatever in life, but any experience you can get, you can add up and consider that part of who you are. So for me, like I definitely consider when I made music, that's part of who I am. When I made video game levels and stuff in like Counter-Strike, I consider that like a learning experience, and it furthers who I am. So it got me to where I'm at, and I know a lot more stuff now because of the things I did. So I put all of that into what I do when I do YouTube and stuff. I do Photoshop, and like I've added the little at the bottom. Where's my hand? At the bottom, there's a little turtle number 13. Like that's a little design I made for my YouTube channel, my Tumblr actually. It's just a fun little thing. I was working with transparencies and just making a little banner, and so I threw it on the video. But that's just something that I've worked on over several years, a decade almost. Working on learning how to use programs on computers and learning how to do media and editing and video stuff is kind of the last thing I got into. I mean, I did some AMV stuff. I'm talking about this because this is like my 100th video on YouTube. This is like I got into YouTube 5-6 years ago, and I did some AMV stuff with like Final Fantasy VIII and like an ABBA Dancing Queen video, and it's like a bunch of the ballroom scenes and her like turning and twisting and Squall there, and his dumb emo face, and it was a passion project. I thought like this goes together really well, and I want to do that, and I edited it together in like Windows Media Editor and on like Windows XP, and I was just like, yeah, okay, this can line up, and I can have like a 5-second clip over here. I'll throw that in there, and that'll make and then I was working on the timing and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. And I did probably 5-6 videos like that. That some of them are on YouTube, some of them got taken off because of copyright claims and music stuff, and I was never trying to monetize any of those. So it's kind of a shame that some of them got like the audio swapped. One of them was like 311 cover of The Cure's Love Song with like Squall walking through the desert and say, and it was it was a cool video, but the audio got swapped on it from YouTube, and I think now it's like Evanescence. Doesn't fit at all. It sounds dumb to think like how much YouTube has changed since back then. I could probably re-upload the video and be fine. It would just say that this person has a claim and that they get the money from it, and I'm fine with that. I should probably actually look into that. I just don't want to get like a flag on my channel for doing something wrong. But The way it is, I mean, the videos, the first videos that I have up are like that, and then there was a couple of videos when I was playing World of Warcraft and I was recording with Fraps and just like put some music to some boss battles and like Burning Crusade. I think I had like the Curator from Karazhan and Mulgor's the fight before Mulgor and or Gruul's Lair, whatever the boss was in there. Maybe it was, I don't know who it was. Gruul's Lair, the first boss in Gruul's Lair, that's like the five ogre guys. I have like a video of that with like Pink Floyd like dance remix music to it. You know, it's like I put the music to it because I thought like this is a cool song and I want people to hear it. It's not the original, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it was a like dance or electronica remix. It was some kind of remix, I think. You know, it's like I want people to listen, and I was, you know, I was showing just like my perspective of how that boss battle went in the video game, and then I went on and did other stuff. I don't, I don't know if I did. I don't know if I kept the videos up. There was a couple of videos when I first made some maps in Counter-Strike Source, and I was really bad at some of the first maps I made, but I was like, to put up like to advertise for it, I was like, I'll make a video for it and people can see the map and see the layout and see like what I was thinking. I can do a little talk through, and I never did it. And I kind of quit playing Counter-Strike Source and other games came out, so it's kind of sad. I miss some of that because of the map creation and stuff. That was really fun. That was really good art stuff. You could express yourself, and I made like some maps that were like all glass windows and, you know, kind of that cool like sparkling effects and stuff. They're like way prettier than anyone wanted in Counter-Strike Source. They wanted like dirt and snow maps. They didn't want anything too fancy. You know, they wanted a couple rocks and a couple things. So, yeah, I think that was all partly learning experience though, and for me, I don't know when I'll put that to use in the future, but it you know, that was in a time when I was inspired to do that, and I want to do more stuff like that in the future, and I'm gonna, you know, keep at it. I still have some of the map files and stuff that I made for Counter-Strike Source, and most of them were really small maps made for like gun game mode, which was, you know, a more compact, smaller map than like the counter-terrorist modes and like the planting a bomb and stuff. So it was more for just like run and gun, like instant respawns and stuff is what I was making small maps for. But getting to like visualize what I wanted, or like making a ramp or like a set of boxes or stairs and stuff, and making it the way I wanted it was a cool, like that was a cool thing to me. That was like the most exciting, fun. I was like, man, this is, you know. And at that point, it was like kind of, there was that like you could sell your maps and stuff, because the game doesn't cost money, but you could you know, give a server that was making money, because some servers were making money off donations and stuff. You could give them money and they'd, you know, buy off your map and stuff. And so I was looking at doing that, and FPS Banana was like the website to do that stuff, and I was like, I was pretty into it, you know. I was checking out other people's maps and like giving critique and saying like if I saw an error that they might not have seen, because, you know, sometimes you work on something that's like in your face for like days on end, and you're just like, you overlook things. And so I remember having some friends that would do that for me, and doing that for one of my friends, and like I remember like the water physics in that game, like we could just never get water to work. Like we did all these tutorials, and like it was just like I give up on water, and just I had fun playing with the lighting, because you could make things so that like the shadows would wrap around a corner, or like there would be a dark spot where someone could go and hide, and like there was a lot to it. There's so much to it. And it was all a learning process, and I mean, I was only making small maps. I can only imagine making like a full-on screensaver, making like a full-on map like in like Titanfall, some bigger maps than Call of Duty's had for years, or Battlefield's got some really big maps, or PlanetSide 2 has like giant maps. I could only imagine being the person that's like, I'm gonna go make a map. I could only imagine doing that like for a real company to get paid. But like part of me is like, that would be so fun. But I'd also have that anxiety of like, would they like my stuff, or is this gonna suck? Because like, if you look at PlanetSide 2, a lot of those maps are fairly, I mean, they're really large, but they're like fairly plain, you know, not anything too in depth. And then like the buildings were probably made by a different team. you know, the buildings were probably like designed and like structured and then put on the landscape and stuff, and you know, it was probably a little bit generic, and they probably made like a couple mountains and rampy things, and that you know, that was like one team, and another team split off. So it'd be cool to be part of something like that, but I don't know. I always wonder, like, my mind doesn't meld well with others, so I always wonder like how I would, in a team setting, be able to do stuff like that. Art's a thing that's very independent driven, independently thought out. So when you have to work in a team, I think that's something I've never had to do that much. So that's something that I'd like to try out sometime in the future, to try and grow as a person, as an artist. But not there yet. But anyways, this has been a long video, but I thank you guys for watching. This is 100th video, so I'm excited to get this recorded and get this up for you guys very soon. And I hope you guys have some like food for thought off the stuff I was talking about with the music and stuff and art and whatever. So if you guys can leave some comments, it's cool. I'd love to hear back from some people on the YouTube or on twitter.com/turtlenumber13, or you guys can find me on Facebook, the /turtlenumber13 as well. So anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. I got some other video game stuff to record and maybe play, so I'm gonna try and have a good rest of the day. You guys have a good week, and I'll see you guys next time.